Hi guys. Hey, this is your review for Early American Voices. Sorry that I'm not with you today. Remember that it's from the 1600s to the 1800s. And as you go through this PowerPoint and this video, and you can look at our PowerPoint slides, I want you to remember the major themes. So go back through here, read the different themes, and kind of have an idea in mind of where you saw these themes in the different pieces of literature that we read during this unit. I gave you the notes on the Iroquois Constitution, so you can look back on here and remind yourself how important that document was and what that was doing, how we used it to really influence our foundational pieces of literature for our country, and the influences that the Iroquois Constitution still has today on the United States and our government. I don't forget you need to study William Bradford. So I would reread of Plymouth Plantation, or at least do a quick read of it. You can go back, pull this assignment on the classroom. You can see all of the they says that you did. That will help you really be reminded of what was talked about. Remember, there's two distinct parts in Plymouth Plantation. There's the first part, so remember what was happening in the first and his purpose for writing that first part. And then we jump to chapter 9 and remember the purpose for writing chapter 9. I'm specifically being vague because I want you to go back to a Plymouth Plantation and spend some time there, because there will be questions on the test about this text. Don't forget Mary Rowlandson. We read her intro. We read her first and second removal. So go back to the classroom, look at that. Again, look at your they says. Your they says are great because that's the main idea for each paragraph that we looked at. So that will help you remember Mary Rowlandson. Now, remember what was specific about Mary Rowlandson is she was writing in the style of the Jeremiad. And remember, there's three parts to the Jeremiad. First, there's the lament, and it's talking about some sort of moral decline. In Mary Rowlandson's issue, her lament was the fact that she is being attacked by the Native Americans and that she was harmed to the Native Americans. The example, that's the same thing in the book of Jeremiah and Isaiah, but it's talking about how the Israelites were far from God at that point. It's the same lament. The second part of a Jeremiah is interpretation. We are in this problem because of our moral decline. This is the result of the situation that we're in. For Mary Rowlandson, basically her lament is, I'm being attacked, or I've been taken hostage by the Native Americans. And it's because at times she looks like she didn't use her Sabbath well. She forgot to literally spend time with God daily or weekly when she spent time at church. She looks at her sister, who in her earlier years did not always follow God. And that's the interpretation. The third part of the Jeremiad, like in the book of Jeremiah and Isaiah, is that even though things are happening, and it might be because we get ourselves into sinful situations, God still loves us, and he does chasten us. He goes after us to bring us back to him. And there's always that hope that he will restore us and that he still loves us and he doesn't want us to stay far away. And Mary Rowlandson processes that too. When she was given a Bible, she realized that that's the Lord just really drawing her back to his word. I want you to make sure that you've read back through Elida Equiano and his narrative and exactly what he was talking about, the purpose for his document. Remember that you read one example of a foundational document. What's the purpose of that document that you read? All of them were different documents. We read 4 different documents, and so you only read one of them, but they had the same purpose. So think about what that same purpose is. Here's your to-do list. You need to remember to reread your texts, and I've listed them here. I've also attached them to the classroom. Remember the difference between a biography and an autobiography. Why is it so powerful that these early pieces of literature that we read were autobiographies and not just biographies? What are the themes? We talked about them earlier, and how important are they in our early American literature? Which ones did you see in what piece of literature? And the final thing is, how does the literature of this time period shift? So think about what the early pieces like of Plymouth Plantation, what it was like, to our foundational pieces. How are the voices changing in America? Thank you guys. Good luck.